Welcome to Wellington's Y Zone, a podcast dedicated to curate weekly sports conversations, be a constant sports hub for content and interview game changers from the community and the world. I am joined by a special guest for another Life Lessons interview, Cameron Peters, an educator, a teacher, a mentor. Also, I want to make sure I'm getting this right. Did you win Teacher of the Year? Teacher of the Year this
I
year?
did. I did win
Man,
Teacher of the
good
Year at Bailey Middle
goodness.
School. Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Congratulations for that, man. And thank you so much for being on this episode.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I greatly appreciate it.
Definitely. And for this podcast, I've been doing this for like uh for the last few episodes, several episodes with like kind of interviewing people in the community, like whether it be a teacher, whether it be a coach,
Mm.
entertainer, and just kind of like what their lessons are, the things that they're able to do well. I want to start off with you, like what got you into teaching, and what was kind of like the origin story for like what caused you to get in that field, and just kind of like know that was your route.
Yeah, for sure. So, my mom was a teacher.
Okay.
If you don't know too much about me, I grew up pretty much in a school building. My mom was a speech pathologist, back in
Okay.
Jacksonville, Florida. A part of Duval County Public Schools. Um, but what got me into teaching really was like I played sports, throughout my whole life, my whole high school, middle school, college career.
Wow.
Um, and I wanted to do something that allowed me to still be around the game, still be around physical activity. I think everybody's like goal is to make it to the league, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, go
Yeah.
pros and stuff, but you always got to have that plan B. So once I kind of knew that that plan A wasn't going to always succeed or go through, um, I knew I wanted to do something that gave back to kids and gave back to the community, but also still allowed me to still have fun and be around, sports and things like that. So that's what got me into coaching and being a physical educator for
Best of
sure.
both worlds. Best of both worlds.
Heck,
Great way to do
heck yeah.
teaching and and coaching as
All
well.
right.
That's really dope, man. What was the first year like for you? Like when you like the almost like the rookie year, like for an athlete, right? Like
Yeah.
you're right into it. Like what was that? What was the first year like for you? Was there like any hazing for like?
Man, listen, bro, like honestly, yeah, because it's very nerve-wracking. I remember, doing my student teaching in college. That was like my first time really being in a classroom setting and in a gym with kids. And I was just like, wow, this is really happening. And a lot happened on that very first day. Um, that I still remember to this day that we don't necessarily got to expand on. But my very first year of teaching, I was actually a teacher's assistant.
Uh,
I wasn't fully certified in PE just yet, so I was like a teacher's aide. Once I finally became certified, that was the first year that COVID happened.
oh my
So
goodness,
during that year, like, could you imagine having to teach PE through a camera? You know what I'm saying? So
man.
that definitely expanded my horizon as far as, being effective, highly effective, as far as teaching and getting to the students and to the kids.
Mm.
So that first year was very tedious. It was very hard trying to navigate through everything, but it's also very rewarding and memorable at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of that rewarding part, because that's the next thing I want to get to, what part of teaching for you is like the element or the specific thing that brings you the most joy on a daily basis? Like what gets you motivated to be like, I get to do this for a living, and this is something that really brings me fulfillment.
Yeah, I think in all, like just knowing that each day, even on your good and your bad days, you continue to show up.
Yeah.
Knowing that, there's students that come to school specifically to see you, to interact with you and to learn
Yeah.
from you, um, is probably the driving force behind, me going to school and waking up every single day.
That's awesome.
It's so rewarding just knowing that like, okay, yeah, kids, they have their ups and downs through school. Some kids don't really want to come to school. They don't want to come to school to learn, but they're coming to school knowing that Coach Peters is going to show up, you know what I'm saying? He might put a smile on my face. I might be able to joke with them, have a good time,
Yeah.
ask them how they're doing outside of school, because it's bigger than just school for me. This is life, so I think that's what's the most rewarding part of being a middle school teacher for sure.
That's awesome, man. And I love what you said about it's bigger than just school. It really is life because you're kind of like shaping the next generation, essentially.
Yeah, for
You're
sure.
shaping the next generation of leaders. Like, how does that responsibility feel, like having to kind of shape the next generation and like make sure that they're equipped to like go into the workforce in whatever field they want to be successful?
I love it. And I embrace it. For sure. Like, yeah, I try to tell them that, it's bigger than me just teaching them about, health and
Yeah,
physical education. I want you guys to be, you know, good and just wholesome people. Like I try to teach and or incorporate life skills into my teachings. That's also why, I came up with, my own business called Camp, creating a meaningful purpose,
yeah, yeah,
which I'm sure we'll eventually, get into. But
yeah.
um every life has its challenges, man. And um, I'm a real person. Yes, I'm your educator, I'm your teacher, but
You're
I have a
human.
life outside. Yeah, I'm human.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I have life outside of school as well. So I think that's what's big in building their relationships is them knowing that, I'm fully transparent, you know, um, and that at the end of the day, I just want them to be their absolute best and I want them to be successful for sure.
absolutely, man. That's incredible and very admirable that you're able to do that and steer them along and give them life skills that they're gonna
Yeah.
need every day. Switching into coaching, in terms of coaching and the years you've been doing it,
Mhm.
what part of it is like the most challenging, or what part of it can be difficult? I know you love it, but are there any parts of it that are like challenging and difficult in terms of like motivating or just kind of like finding different ways to get the job done when you're having a coach?
Yeah, I think the most tedious part about coaching is knowing that each year you're being presented, new players,
Yeah,
new skill sets, new personality traits. But it's your job as a coach to, find the best in every athlete. It's your
right.
job to find the formula, you know, that you could put together not only for them as individuals, as players and athletes, but that will also benefit the team.
Yeah,
It's like a big chess game. You got to know,
absolutely.
which person works best with who. Which skill set works best with whatever time and point in the game. And then it's so rewarding when you can put it all together, and then you
Yeah.
finally see it come together and it works.
The recipe. See the recipe
Yeah,
come to
for sure. And
fruition.
it
Yeah.
takes time. It takes time. Like it's not going to just happen overnight.
Yeah.
Um, and that's what separates, good coaches from bad coaches, as well as, mediocre and average teams to championship caliber teams for sure.
Definitely. We're gonna take a quick break and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the show, and now we're getting the second half of this interview. And for the second half of the topics, I wanted to also kind of get into your company and just kind of like how you were able to start that. Is it the company LLC?
Camp, yeah, Camp.LLC.
Camp LLC. How did that start? And also, what was the vision for that you have to kind of like start that camp and just like really see that process come to life and do what it's
Yeah,
doing now?
man, it's been a long journey. But Camp derives from my name, Cameron Peters. A lot of people back in, high school and college call me Cam P.
Okay.
So it stands for creating a meaningful purpose. And the goal of that is, or what I really want people to take away from that is that I encourage people to find their why,
Yeah,
and finding their purpose. And I'm a firm believer that everybody has a purpose in life.
for
We
sure.
all have a reason for being here. And I believe that once you find that purpose and find your why, allow that why to fuel your passion.
Mm,
Um, and whatever you decide to do,
yeah,
and go all in and do your absolute best with it. So for me, I found a need that students needed a little more than just your average regular day-to-day school curriculum.
mm,
They need to be taught things that isn't necessarily taught in your reading language or
yeah,
science classes, social studies classes.
for sure.
I found myself during the school day, getting pulled out of my regular PE classes to go mentor and talk to kids, and de-escalate kids or help them with their problems so that
Mm,
they can get through the school day. So I found myself, always helping and always mentoring. So I'm like, okay, I got to do something with this. This doesn't seem like a job. This is truly a passion of mine.
Yeah.
So I created a full curriculum. It has over 20 plus chapters. And
Wow.
it talks about all kinds of things, like college readiness,
Yeah.
etiquette, de-escalation, knowing your rights. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And I was able to implement it. I got it approved and I copyrighted it and I was able to implement it here at Bailey Middle School.
That's
And
what's
right
up.
now we're hopefully trying, or hopefully it'll become an elective class next year. But I finished
Wow.
the curriculum right on time. Like it's oh man, it was a perfect time and such divine timing that like
I'm gonna put a round of applause sound bite in for that part when I edit this.
yeah, that was cool, man. So when I finished it, that was right when I was winning, or I won Teacher of the Year at Bailey Middle School, and then I went on to get top five in the school district. So that really helped elevate, my business. So right now we got the ball rolling. So I'm just gonna, keep working and hopefully
Yeah.
that, I can continue to implement it and change kids' lives for sure.
So glad you brought up winning teacher of the year because I have two questions. So first, when you see that you're in the finalist panel, like the top five, what was your reaction
Yeah.
then? Were you like, wait, I made it? Or were you just like, nah, I knew I was ready?
Oh man, like honestly though, bro, like when I won it at Bailey Middle School, I didn't think it was gonna go any further than that. Because it's a process. Like you got to write papers and an
Yeah.
interview and all this other stuff. And I was just like, man, I'm so busy. I do so many other things. But I was like, I'm always teaching my students and my athletes, to push beyond, their limits, and
Right.
step out on faith, So I was like, how can I be telling my students and my athletes to do this and not be, leading by
Yeah.
example myself? So I'm like, all right, well, let's go for it. So, I went through the first step and found myself in the top 10. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, wow, like,
This
okay,
is real.
yeah, this is real. We might be doing something here.
Yeah.
So I went on to the next step. And then when I saw that I got top five, I'm like, oh man, like, okay, I think I'm in. I think
Uh,
I can do this for
yeah.
real. So let's see where we could go for sure.
That's what's up. And then like when you actually like found out you won it, what was your reaction? Like what was the initial feeling going through your head about like I won this?
Uh, I was just so thankful, because I think as educators, sometimes we don't always feel seen. We don't always feel appreciated sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, and it's lots of long days and long nights and overtime that's not always paid and stuff. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, it feels good to finally be, recognized for work that's not always seen or
Yeah.
talked about. So it was like motivation for me to know that, I found my why, and I found my purpose and I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, you literally
So I'm
did.
just gonna,
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm gonna continue doing what I'm doing for sure.
Definitely, man. Another question I want to get to is what would be kind of your advice for the next generation if they want to get into coaching or teaching one day, if they have aspirations to get to go into that field, like what would kind of be your advice from things you've experienced to
Mhm.
things that they could kind of learn and just like, watch out for or be prepared for it if they get to that point?
I think the next thing that I would say, or one thing that I would say to the next generation would be, um, make sure you're doing this for the right reasons. If it kind of ties back to, my motto of just finding your why, and finding what comes easy to you and your passion. Um, I think there are some educators that, that are great at what they do,
Hmm.
for sure. But sometimes, we get caught up in having to live life and that we just come to school and teach just so we can make a paycheck. Um,
Yeah.
but these kids are very smart, and they're watching everything that you do. They're listening to everything that you say. So it's like I said, it's bigger than just school. They're absorbing everything. So you have to
Yeah.
carry yourself to a very high standard everywhere you go. Even out and about in town, like I'm always running into students and families and stuff like that. So um, I would say that,
They're
you
like,
know, if
Coach Peters, that's you.
what? And I'm like, oh yeah, like yeah, it's me, man. It's
You at the
me.
checkout
But
line, you're like, oh, no,
oh,
sir.
here we go. Like, yeah, it never ends. It never ends. But it's so cool though. And that just goes to show you that like, you know, you are building the relationships. And, you know, if you really do want to get into coaching and teaching, um, definitely do it for the right reasons. Don't do it for a paycheck. Don't do it just for the accolades
Mhm.
or just being able to say that you are a teacher, that you are a coach, but do it because you truly want to, you know, give back to the kids and that you really want to pour into the kids, whatever you've experienced, you
Yeah,
know, so that you could pass it on to the next generation for sure.
for sure. That's great advice, man. Next question I want to get to before a bonus question I have, because I always have a
Hmm.
bonus question that I ask the
Okay,
guests. But
cool.
what is the biggest need in the school system that you currently see on a daily basis? Like, what are things that you see that are like, man, like we need more help in this area, or just anything in
Uh,
particular that you see?
um, Honestly, I would love to see just more mentors.
Mm,
I would love to see people that are outside the school building, whether you're, you know, in the military or, you know, any other profession that, you know, the kids can come and see, and that they can relate some of the life lessons or just things that, you know, you're able to bring to the table to things that teachers are bringing into the table or bringing to the table.
yeah.
So they can, because we have kids that come from a lot of different backgrounds.
Mm,
Um, and you have to be able to meet them where they're at. So I would love to see, you know, just more also parent support.
yeah.
I believe that, you know, we are with the kids Monday through Friday. We're with the kids more than half of the year. So we're kind of like their parents away from home.
Mm,
And sometimes there are kids that see their teachers more than they see their parents. Um, so I think that if we had more parent involvement, I think that would be great as well.
mm.
Um, but yeah, you know, I guess I'll lead with that. Oh, I would love to see more males too.
Okay. Yeah, that's a big one.
I
Yeah.
know that, you know, education is, you know, kind of geared more towards you see more
Emails.
female
Yeah.
educators, you know,
Yeah.
than males. And I think for our young men in the city, they need to see strong and educated men,
Yeah.
for sure in that profession. So I would love to see that as well.
Man, that's it's such a huge need, man, because when you think of
Yeah,
education, you think, oh, it's just a female teacher. Like, no, it can be a male teacher
yeah,
as well. And
yeah.
they need to
Heck
see like
yeah,
an example of that. Um,
yeah,
last question I want to get to, and thank you so much for your time, man.
yeah. No
This has been a
problem.
great interview.
It's pretty cool.
Um, last question I want to get to. If there is one person, dead or alive, you could have a dinner with, just 1 hour, 2 hours, just whatever restaurant you could think of, dead or alive, and you're talking to them, and you're just gleaning from them, and just chatting it up. Who would it be?
One person that I could have dinner with. Uh, Man, that's a good one. Honestly, you know, without getting too spiritual, I would love to sit down and have dinner with the Lord. You
Hey,
know,
good. That right there, right
I'm
there.
not even gonna lie to you,
Talking,
man. That's the
talking.
only thing that's on my
I
mind.
feel
Like,
that. I feel that.
what a conversation. You know, what kind of dinner
Yeah,
would
man.
that be? That would be the icing on the cake. I don't care what we're
I love
eating, or
that.
you know what I'm saying. I think that would just be amazing. That's the only thing that came to mind. I couldn't think of
I
anybody.
feel
I couldn't
that.
think of anybody
That's
else.
why I always ask on the spot, because if you have too much time, you're gonna give me like five different answers, but I want to
Yeah,
like make sure.
nah, yeah, nah. I think that's number one right there. That's top of my list. You
That's
know,
awesome.
I definitely would have dinner with the Lord, man, for sure.
That's awesome, man. Cam, thank you so much for coming on this episode, talking about what you do. Is there any way, like, if there's any way for people to get in contact with you, or just follow your company, like just
Yeah,
shout out anything that they can follow, and just see
heck
what you're
yeah,
doing.
man. We'll definitely follow my personal Instagram page, Cam Peters underscore 23. On there you'll kind of see my bio of everything that I do and everything that I'm involved with. But if you want to follow my business page, it's camp.llc as well. And you'll also see that I am the guy right director for Pensacola Kappa League. Which is a national organization through my fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi. where we have a youth mentorship program. You can find that page underneath my bio as well at Picola
Yeah.
Kappa League. So if you're interested in that, feel free to message me or email me on any of those two pages. But I definitely appreciate the time and you having me on this podcast, man. It's pretty cool.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, that wraps it up for tonight. I'm your host, Wellington Burns. This has been Wellington's Y Zone. See you next time.